Hello, my name is Rydon and welcome to Rydon Hobbies. Today, we're going to be building the Ylthari's Guardian set from Warhammer Underworlds. Now, I don't have much experience with miniatures or Warhammer in general, but I do have a little bit of experience painting. I painted these little metal hormigons here, as well as I'm a pretty frequent gunpla builder. So, we're going to go ahead and get right into this kit and see how we like it. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start a time lapse, and I'm going to go ahead and give you some of my commentary over it. I'm going to try to capture some of the ideas from live during the build, and I'm going to add some afterthoughts as well, so you can see a little bit of now and then. Alright, right away these sprues look pretty good, so I'm really excited to take these off the sprue and start building. So when I'm starting to build these, I notice a few things that are a little bit different between Warhammer and Gunpla. A lot of the pieces are a little bit more spindly and thin, like the horns here, and that kind of makes me a little bit more nervous. Normally, I would shave the nubs down a little bit by sanding them with a needle nose file, but instead I find myself more inclined just to use my hobby knife. I think that's the best way to cut things like this without potentially damaging it. Just by removing some of the pieces from the sprues, I found a little bit of stress mark here and there. For example, on the sword, because of how thin it was and the little hole that goes in the center, it didn't want to come out quite so easily. This little fairy thing here is even worse, if you believe it or not. That said, I think this guy is my favorite of the 4 minis once it was complete. He just has such a presence. Even compared to Ylthari, he's robust, he's got a sword, he's got those magnificent horns. He honestly looks like the leader, and in most of the marketing images, including the one on the back of the box, he's kind of standing front and centered, which tells me someone at marketing at Games Workshop thought the same thing. Look at him there on the base. He is a good looking mini. Alright, we're going to put his little fairy friend in, and like I said, just getting him off the sprue gave him mild stress marks, so putting him on was a little bit anxiety inducing, but he looks really good. I am not taking that off to paint it, I can tell you that right now. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started on our second guy here. I really like him, and he's the only one who has kind of a unique hairstyle going, and the axe makes him look really strong and mighty. I don't know too many of the characters' names or the lore behind them yet, since I'm still pretty new to Warhammer, but I can tell you right now that he looks really cool. The axe itself is also a little bit thin and made me really nervous cutting it out of the sprue here, but thankfully there weren't any stress fractures or marks on this one. Again, I'm being extra careful to shave it with my hobby knife instead of using a needle nose file like I normally would, just because I was worried about it breaking. The assembly on some of these pieces is a little bit tedious. I know I'm not the best at centering the camera on my tripod, but trying to assemble him the way he came out there was a little bit difficult. You had to put him in and then turn him to get the nub to fit into the slot. I know that most of Games Workshop miniatures are glue fit, but these easy build ones are not as easy build as Gunpla, where all the pegs simply slide right into one another. When I'm building a Gunpla personally, I usually only use glue if I need to hide any seam lines. And in most modern molds, seam lines are actually designed into the design of the unit itself. A lot of the panel lining is used to hide the seam lines. you can see right here I'm kind of struggling to get the nubs off the base. Even though these units are so small, because of the way the sprues come out so flat, a lot of the nubs are actually remarkably thick in order to keep the pieces on. That made them kind of cutting it off a little bit hard, especially in the bases, which are probably the thickest pieces of plastic on this. Right away, I don't care for how thin her arm is. She doesn't like to work with me a little bit. Now, future me can tell you that this is the first one that I painted. That video should be coming up pretty soon as well. But she's not easy to get off the sprue. I was very nervous about breaking her arm while I was working, and when I tried to slide the pieces together, look at that. I managed to get it in, little to no effort, but it actually kind of scared me to do. Alright, getting our little bug friend off the sprue. His twig also kind of made me nervous. It didn't get any stress marks, but it was such a thin piece that I didn't really want to force it. I was expecting some problems with her head because of the way her hair is, but she actually slid together pretty easily once I got everything off the sprue. It was just getting her off the sprue that I didn't like. I'm not too used to building minis, so I'm not too used to basing them, but it does seem really weird to me that these bases are pre-textured. Like I said, I already painted her, and I'm planning to start painting the rest of them in the morning, but I wasn't really expecting the base to come out like that, and once that video is up, I hope you guys enjoy that. I did put a little bit of extra effort in, and I tried to make the base look as good as possible. Now, Ylthari has the most spindly bits and made me the most nervous getting her off the sprue. Because she's got kind of the woven thorn dress going on, it was really cool. She's got a fantastic design, and I really love the weave nature of it. I used to play a card game when I was younger called Magi Nation, and one of the factions in that game was the Weave, and it was full of monsters and beasties of all sorts that were made from like woven grass and wheat. And she kind of reminds me of that because of the way she has the weaved vines for a body. But getting those off the sprue was kind of scary, and as you can see right here, the nub that comes off her body to connect it is equally thin. In Gunpla, if a piece is hanging off like that, a lot of the times it's just to prevent mold flash and printing, and they expect you to cut it off. So I had to double check the manual to make sure that that was supposed to be there, since I'm not used to pieces sticking off like that. Now that I've got her main body off the sprues, I'm excited to finally start nipping at the bud. Heh heh, pun totally intended. She really does have a gorgeous sculpt, and I was really blown away by how minute the details on these minis are. Her staff and her little crown thing behind her, not to mention the weaving vines. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm sure you lore aficionados out there are going to be typing the comments and telling me what a noob scrub lord I am. But right now I'm just enjoying grabbing the minis and cutting them out of the sprues and painting them. I've got a few more other projects lined up, and I'm going to be trying some new things like magnetizing them. But for right now, here is our lineup. They look fantastic together. I actually built these units so that my brother would have a Warcry warband to play with me. But I have to admit, I really love the way they turned out. I'm excited to keep painting the rest of them and making them look as good as possible. Look at that group shot. Ylthari commanding him like a true boss. Now, thank you all you guys for watching. I'm really excited to keep bringing you more content, and hopefully as I stop fumbling around in this hobby, you guys will see how I grow with both editing these videos and painting miniatures. So, thank you so much for your time. This has been Ride On from Ride On Hobbies, and I would love it if you guys would live strong and ride on. Have a great day.